Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Remember Who You Are podcast, where we discuss powerful and transformative plant medicine experiences. I'm your host, Ruger Abear. I run Mexisoul, a plant medicine retreat center in Mexico, and I'm here today with my guest, Eric Zilleruelo. He's turning 43 next week. Happy birthday. He's born and raised in New Jersey.
Thank you.
He had an interesting upbringing, which we're going to get into in a little bit. He's currently living in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. He works in general contracting. His hobbies are exercising, going to the gym, salsa dancing, playing basketball, and he has an interesting project. So in his free time, he's putting together a documentary about his life story, which focuses on men's mental health. And it's going to include a podcast and a YouTube channel with the intention of helping others. So Eric, welcome. You had a interesting kind of upbringing or unique upbringing that maybe isn't always the same as other guests. So why don't we start talking about that a little bit?
Okay. Well, as you mentioned, my name's Eric Zilleruelo. I'm 43. I'm born and raised in New Jersey. Single parent home. My father wasn't around. Mom never remarried. So which kind of led to me being a rebellious kid, a troubled kid. I was always in trouble in school with the law. I mean, by the time I was 11, 12 years old, I was already on probation. By the time I was 14, 15, I was already in a juvenile detention center. By the time I was 21, I was already in prison. And okay, by the time I got out, I knew nothing, and I continued that lifestyle. I tried to catch up with the 5 years that I lost as a 21-year-old, and I continued to party, continued to hang out with the wrong crowd, and I did that all the way up until 38 years old. And at that point, I had nothing. I was getting depressed. I felt self-pity. I felt guilt from what I put my mom through. Um, you know and I had no direction. I had no guidance. I didn't know which route to go to, and that's basically how I lived up to 38 years old. And that's when I made the move to Florida, and that's when my life changed a bit. But up until that point, I really just lived a lifestyle that wasn't going to get me anywhere in life.
So around 38, is that when you kind of realized that? Or,
I remember 2018. I remember being in my room, and I'm still living at home. And I just got this wave of depression. It just smacked me in the face like, wow, who have you, who are you gonna become? Who have you become? Where are you going in life? What's your purpose on this earth? And I had no answers. And I was literally just laying in my bed. My safe spot is my bed.
mhm.
My bed, no, my best friend in this whole world is my bed. When you're in prison, that's where you go to. I was in a room by myself for 26 months, and multiple other times I was in a room by myself, and there's nowhere to go but your
That's
bed,
kind of the
you
only
know?
thing that's
So
yours.
my that's the only thing. When you're in a jail cell, you're not, you're only going to stand for so many hours. So my bed is where knows all my secrets. It holds all my tears. My bed knows my sleepless nights. It knows everything about me is my bed. And I found myself laying in my bed constantly. As soon as I would get home, first thing I do is go to lay in my bed. I
Mhm.
get up, make a little breakfast, go right back to bed. And I remember seeing that pattern, and I'm thinking to myself, I don't want to live no more.
Yeah.
What am I? My mom isn't proud of me. She hides me from her friends. I'm not proud of myself. I have no accomplishments in my life whatsoever. The only accomplishments I have is being a popular kid, being the cool kid, being the party kid. That's about it. I've accomplished nothing in life, and I'm 30 something years old. I don't have a car. I don't have education. I never had a job. I mean, you name it. But I hit it so well. Nobody knows this. Everybody looks at me like, he's having a great time. He has all the girls. He's out partying all the time. But deep inside, I was just ashamed of myself, you know? Um, so that's when it actually hit me, right around 2018.
Huh. Thanks for sharing. So I have a question for you then. While all this was happening from age like 21 to then, what was your kind of perspective on things? I mean, were you, because there must have been like some cognitive dissonance where like you're either not worried about the future or you part of you is like just suppressing it, ignoring it.
Yes, yes, absolutely ignoring it. I lived day by day. Whatever, when I woke up that day is how I'm gonna entertain myself, what I'm gonna do. I didn't worry about the next day, the following day, the future. That those thoughts never came to my mind. I always just thought about what can I do today to have fun?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think about, hmm, what about a career? What about a family? I never been in love before. I never been in a relationship. And I'm 38 years old. I mean, I've still, never had a relationship in my life and a serious committed relationship. I've never felt love before. The only time I ever felt love in my life was when I was dating a girl, and I fell in love with her dog. The dog was only about a year and a half, 2 years old. 3 pound long haired chihuahua. And here I am, fresh out of prison, 200 pounds, all muscular, this thug persona. And here I am falling in love with a little 3 pound long haired chihuahua. That's the first time I ever felt love, ever felt giving love, and ever felt receiving love in my entire life. And, um, and, and that dog helped me. Those 10 years I had him helped me get by day. I woke up for that dog. So yeah, so with Gucci, he gave me a purpose. Gucci gave me a purpose, I took really good care of him. He came to me for food, for love, so that's where I finally realized I have a heart. Because when I was a teenager, I was a terrible person. I was the bully of the school. I was, nothing to be proud of. I was I mean, I had friends, but the friends were just associates, right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
and Gucci gave me a purpose to live. I remember being in that room and just holding him, and I was just depressed. I just didn't want to live anymore. And and when he passed away, 2020, the heartbreak I've never experienced like this in my life. And that's when I moved to from that, unfortunately, I broke up with that girl. Um, we were never in love. Well, we were together basically just because, and that's when I moved to Florida, 2021. That New Year's basically, and that's where I remember shifting my life into becoming a, a law-abiding citizen, a productive member of society, open up a business. No more. From that day on, when I moved to that Florida, I've never did any criminal activities. I never hung out with bad people. My whole everything changed. The people I surrounded myself with, my mentality, it just the way I was living day to day completely shifted, and that I remember that vividly, actually.
So how old were you about when that happened?
Um, that was that was about right around 38, 37, 38 years old. Yeah, yeah. So from birth to 38 years old, I never lived, I never educated myself, I never, hung out with good people, I never did anything productive. I did nothing to make my mother proud of me. And I hold that inside of me because think about a single mother, I'm the only child. And I'm in and out of jail. I'm uneducated. I'm not going to school. I'm cutting school. I'm not coming home. I'm running away. I mean, the poor woman is home, and this is the 80s and 90s. There's no cell
Yeah.
phones. She don't know where I am. I'm not calling. She's sleepless nights. She's working 2 3 jobs, putting food on the table. And here I am, just you're just being a screw up, you know. So when I moved to Florida, our relationship changed, and my view of life changed.
So from that kind of shift in perspective, let's keep going from there.
Hmm.
Because somehow it led you from wanting, I mean, realizing that like there's this piece of life that's worth living. Then what was the transition from that to ending up at a retreat center?
Um, okay, so I actually learned about ayahuasca right around 2014, 15. So it was about 6, 7 years prior to moving to Florida. I was still in Jersey, and and I met this kid, and at a party, and we got really cool, and he liked to play basketball too. So we had that bond of playing basketball. And he was also Polish. I'm half Polish, half Argentinian. And I grew up on the Polish side. And he
Yeah.
was also Polish, and we spoke Polish. I'm fluent in Polish, and he was fluent in Polish. So we had a bond of Polish and basketball. So we lived, 2 towns away. We'd meet up 3 times a week. We played basketball, and I got really cool with this kid. But he was a drinker. Not like he woke up and he was chugging a bottle, but every day he had to have 6 to 8 beers. Construction worker, drinking on the job, coming home, having a beer after basketball, go and have a beer. I mean, everything he wanted to do was either basketball and drinking, right? And and he went on vacation to Peru with one of his best friends. And he came back, and I'm like, "Hey, let's go get a beer." And he was like, "No, I don't drink no more." Mind
Mm,
blowing for this kid not to deny a beer was, there's no way, right?
right.
And he proceeded to tell me about this ayahuasca retreat he went on. And as he's telling it, I remember in my head, I'm saying to myself, this is what I need. I mean, I would
Yeah.
love to experience this. And he was telling me how he was purging and he was letting out all areas of his body and throwing up, and what he saw and how it changed him and how he wanted to become a better person and how he stopped drinking and he built a relationship with his mother again. And I'm saying to myself, wow, this is exactly what I need, what I want. And it was always in the back of my mind, always in the back of my mind. But at that time, I was still 30, 32 years old. I wasn't spiritual, not religious. I continued to live that lifestyle. So we kind of separated when I moved to Florida. I was going back and forth from Florida to Jersey. And it was always in the back of my mind. And I remember when I moved to Florida, I got part of this salsa community, and it's a huge community, and you meet so many cool people, so many nice people, and I always joke with them that they're normal people, and they're like, "What do you mean by normal?" I was like, "You have no idea. The people I used to hang out with and the people I hang out
Right.
with now are complete opposites. I mean, you guys have jobs, you guys are educated, you guys have hobbies, you guys don't drink, don't smoke, don't do drugs, you don't, steal, you don't do." You guys are normal people, and I loved it. I love being around them. I love being part of a community that everybody's positive. Everyone has the same hobby. Everybody, birthdays and holidays, and you spend them together, and it's a beautiful thing. And I brought it up to a couple people, and one of my friends said, "You know what? I'm down. Let's do it." And me, I'm a guy that brushes things off. Like, I'll say something, and then procrastinate and never gets done. She actually started Googling and started getting the research done, and that's where we found Mexisoul.
Mm.
And she's like, "These are the flights. This is the price, the dates." I'm like, she kind of caught me off guard. I was like, "Shit, we got to do this. Let's do it." And
So did
that's
she
how it
bring it
happened.
up? So did she bring it up to you, or did you bring it up to her?
No, I
Was it
brought it
just
up to
a?
her. I brought it up to
Okay.
her, and then she was interested in trying it as well.
Yeah.
But she's like a research person. She's like really into
Yeah.
that, and she gave me all the details, the trips, the flights, how much it's gonna cost, and this and that. And at that point, and she kept bringing it up. I kept putting it to the side, kept putting it to the side, and finally, I'm like, you know what? Let's do it. Because I started dabbling with mushrooms, and mushrooms was
Yeah.
giving me a little therapy as well. As I started taking mushrooms, I remember one day, I took a nice amount, and I remember looking in the mirror. And when I looked in the mirror, I just started breaking down crying, and everything inside of me just released, and I'm bawling in the mirror, looking at myself, feeling self-pity for myself. And then my mom would come up, and I would bawl crying with her, and then Gucci would come up, and I would bawl crying. So I kept like, in a weird way, I loved to cry. I
Mhm.
love to cry. I never cried. I remember being in jail, in prison, and I'm in alone in a room, 26 months by myself in a room at one point in time. I did 63 months, but 26 of them I was in by myself.
Mm.
Um, and I remember trying to cry. I remember like, let it out, Eric, let it out. Release all this tension, this buildup. I couldn't shed a tear. I couldn't. I was so cold on the inside. I was so hard on the inside. I couldn't let it out. And by taking mushrooms, I was crying like a baby. And I loved it. I felt a relief. I felt amazing, and I continued to do it, and I would always go in the mirror, and I would just let it all out, and as you're doing research of ayahuasca, it's telling you how, if you think mushrooms is doing something for you, ayahuasca is going to take you to a whole nother healing level. And then the kid Jersey, I always remembered him, how he changed and how he stopped drinking, how he became this different person. And I just started putting two and two together. I said, you know what, we got to do this. Let's do this. I'm ready for that change. I'm ready to become a man. And I tell you, man, that experience at Mexisoul, I had a friend pick me up from the airport, and till this day, he is my best friend for 27 years. He's never seen me so happy. I was ecstatic, explaining my experience, explaining everything that happened. I mean, the next 2, 3 weeks, I was on a high like you couldn't believe, and he was just like, "Bro, I've never seen you like this in my life," and it was just an amazing experience. So yeah, that's what led me to get to Mexico.
Awesome. Well, let's get into the experiences and what that was like for you then. So you went from the mushrooms in the mirror to Mexico.
Yeah, yeah. Mushrooms in the Mirror is awesome. But Mexi Soul was a whole different animal. I'm getting goosebumps right now talking about it. I mean, I came out of there a whole new person. I mean, what it did for me mostly, I feel, is it released my emotions. It opened up my emotions. It made me feel. It made me feel like a human. It made me want to change. It really I felt like I know who I want to be. I just can't get there. I can't get there because of 38 years of just not doing anything. And all of a sudden, you can't just snap your finger and all of a sudden become this person you want to be. It's going to take time and effort and a lot of discipline and dedication, determination. But when I came back from Mexico, I saw this whole vision of what I want to be and how I want to be, and 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 when I came back, I started to move in that direction, and I got into a relationship, my first one in my whole life. I'm 40 years old, and I actually got into a relationship, and it was beautiful, and I fell in love for the first time. I've never fell in love except for a non-human, my first time loving a human, and it was beautiful, and and people that know me from back in the day, from Jersey, even just through the phone, wow, Eric, you sound like a completely different person. Like, I can't believe this is who I'm talking to on the other line of the phone. And from there, all the people I've done wrong in my life, which is too many, all the people I've let down, all the people that I just, I've done wrong. I've done so wrong. And whether it's relationship wise, otherwise, and especially Gucci's mom. I call her Gucci mom. Her name is Vanessa, aka Spills. Um, I remember going to Jersey, and I felt it a need to take her out and sit her down and really apologize to her from what I put her through, um, and thanking her for bringing Gucci into my life. And it was just, it was a beautiful night me and her had. You know, we hugged, we cried, we hung out, you know, we laughed, and thankfully she forgave me, you know, and we still have a great relationship to this point. You know, we talk all the time, and she's also interested in ayahuasca, and she's seen me at my absolute worst, because that's the girl I got involved with as soon as I got out of prison, like literally a year later, up until 9 years later. So we were together 9 years, but um, you know,
Yeah, that's usually not the best time to start a relationship.
yes, exactly. And
Well, well, why don't we talk a little? Do you mind sharing a little bit about what came up for you or what you experienced in some of the ceremonies themselves that led you to the, some of that change?
yeah, absolutely. Believe it or not, you're part of it. So maybe I'll start with my first night. Okay, my first
Okay,
night,
sure.
I don't know what to expect. To be quite honest, to be 100% honest, yes, I wanted to go for the change, but I don't know if it's gonna happen or not. I just started dabbling into mushrooms. I really like the whole visuals and all that stuff. I do like the crying, but I also enjoy the light show, you know?
Hmm.
And I'm saying to myself, shit, ayahuasca is gonna have me 10 times more than the mushroom. So I went there to have a great trip, right? Literally. And I remember that first night. I was excited. Everybody's nervous. Everybody's like, and I'm like, bring it on. You know, hurry up. Let's go. Let's get this going. I want to be tripping. And I remember taking it, and like 45 minutes go by, an hour go by, and nothing's happening. I'm like, shit, don't tell me that this isn't working. Maybe I need another cup. Because people have told me, you know, as you're there, you know, that doesn't work for everybody. And I'm like so upset at this point. I'm like, no way is this not working, because the person next to me is laughing. This one's crying. This one's throwing up. I'm not throwing up. I don't feel anything. And I remember looking up we're in the temple, and I remember looking up, the lights were still kind of dim. And I remember looking up, and all of a sudden, as you look at the straw, like the straw roof, I see it's just straw, bamboo, whatever it's made of. I see like prairie dogs all going all the way around, all lined up next to each other. But they're not like brown color, they're the straw color of the yellow straw. And they're all like looking at me, and it's all prairie dogs. And then the lights go out, and then the music starts coming on. And when that music comes on, I'm telling you, that band you guys have is what made my ayahuasca retreat experience everything. That music is absolutely perfect for what, for me anyway, what I went there for. It's so loving, it's so nurturing, it's so energetic. It flows through your body. Like ayahuasca makes you very enhanced. Everything's enhanced. And that the guitar and the voice and Luis and Alex and Umberto, it's and the one girl who chimes in once in a while with her voice. I mean, it was magical to me. That's when it really started hitting me, and that's when I was like, wow. And I remember looking at the window, the stained window over here. It has like a tree, you know, that you guys have like a tree that's like has the branches with no leaves and stuff. That looked like a big witch with a and it looked like almost like some type of something was in her hand, but it looked like a witch. And I started hallucinating. And I remember looking, I rolled over, and I'm looking at the girl next to me, and she has the blankets over her. And her blankets started becoming like almost like a ancient Greek Rome robe that they used to wear. And it would just like started forming that, and then later on it started becoming more like skeleton like, and so now I'm thinking, wow, I'm tripping, right? And I close my eyes and you see the colors, the shapes and all that, and then Gucci popped up, and
Mm.
boom, my heart just dropped, and I started to, I was just about to cry, and I stopped myself. And I said, whoa, 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 chill. Because it was like a punch in the gut. And I was about to explode with crying, with yelling and whatever. And I was almost like, as usual, I always hide my feelings. I didn't express my feelings. I hid them. I always hide my feelings. And typical, I didn't let it out. More because maybe that's what I do. I don't express myself. I don't communicate. I hide it. I store it. And
I
also
I
maybe
would
I'm,
all I would also say
Mhm.
too it's a product of the environment because if you're in a space where you don't feel safe and you're not able to do
Yes,
that, then
so that's
it's
exactly what
gonna
I was just
continue
about to
that.
say. I was just about to say that. You literally took the words out of my mouth. Also, I'm around a bunch of strangers. I'm about to start bawling, crying around all these people. Now I'm thinking everyone's gonna be looking at me, and the paranoia kicked in. As far as like, I don't want to. I said, okay, if it's gonna be like this, enjoy this trip. Enjoy the colors, enjoy the visuals, enjoy the hallucinations. Have a great night. We have two more ceremonies to go. Do it then. So my first night, I kind of held back my feelings, emotions, and my crying and all that. I didn't throw up. I didn't go to the bathroom. I kind of just enjoyed the hallucinations my first night,
Hmm.
and it was so intense. I mean, I took 2 cups. I took 2 cups, one and then one later. I remember it being like 4 in the morning, and I finally walked back to the room and so forth. And then the next day we had the Satori ceremony, and nothing happened. I took 2 capsules. I didn't feel a thing. And the people that are there, like, oh my God, it was more intense than the ayahuasca. And I was like, no way! Don't tell me that I just wasted my retreat on the first night on just enjoying the high of the hallucinations, I was very worried that now the next ayahuasca ceremony and the next one that I wasn't gonna feel anything or see anything. But that was the first night. I remember that was first. And then the next day, Satori, nothing happened to me. I didn't feel anything. I didn't see
Yeah.
anything. I didn't feel anything.
Is there any reason you feel that that happened, or
I mean, I don't know. I was just so worried like that. Damn, like this is it. I had that one night and this is it. But nothing happened with Satori. I was kind of upset because I actually went to Mexico with a friend, and she told me her experience, and it was like she's like, dude, you have no idea. I saw this and that, and she had a lot of issues with herself, and she felt like a progress,
hmm.
and I'm like, damn, I missed a step, in my healing journey. And so now I'm nervous for the second night for ayahuasca. I'm really nervous now. And so this time I took 2 cups for the first
An initial?
dose.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I was feeling it. Then he asked for the third cup. And I remember now I always say this. I don't know if it's just me or if this is how it works. Probably not. But I remember the first 2 cups were like liquidy, like liquid. My third cup, I felt that it was the bottom of the bottle, and I got the mucky, chunky mud in there,
You can
And
almost chew it.
yes, and when I drank that, oh my God, I went back to the bed, and it was just so like it was stuck to me. The other liquid, it just goes down. It's not the best taste, but it's not the worst. It's not that bad. But that third cup was just that mucky muck, right? And And I never drank water afterward. That time I had to like swish some water. It was like it was just stuck in my mouth. And but that trip, that ceremony is when I let it all out. I mean, Gucci, I cried like you wouldn't believe. My mom, everybody that popped up, I would have this rush of like almost levitating off the bed of like almost like a pop, and then just boom, and the crying and the hugging and the just I remember just being so tight and just crying and not having air almost. And as things calmed down, I remember very vividly. I was laying on my side and my eyes are open and I'm just staring at the wall. But at the wall became like a little screen. And I remember looking at somebody, which was me, a 21-year-old me. I'm standing basically in a doorway, and the vision is my eyes are looking at my jail cell, my prison cell that I was in a room for 26 months by
Mm.
myself. And I'm looking at the I'm looking at somebody looking out the window like this. 'Cause in my jail cell, there's a little window, there's a chair and a desk. And he's like this looking out the window, and I'm behind him and I'm looking at the back of his head, my 21-year-old me. And I'm like literally looking at myself 21 years old. And after like 2 minutes, he turns around and we make eye contact. And I look at him, he looks at me, and he starts like bawling up with tears, and slowly tears are coming down. And he's just the face he gave me was like, what did I do to my life? Why am I here? Like, what have I done? Like I could feel his face telling me like damn, I messed up so bad. Like it's like my life sucks. Look what I'm doing. I'm so upset being here. And the only thing I did was look at him. I remember looking at him and I just gave him like a little smirk and a little head nod, like it's gonna be all right, without saying it, you know. And and he gave me a little head nod too. He wiped his tears and he turned around and looked back out the window, and the vision went away.
Hmm.
And that's what it was just amazing to see that. That those are one of my very vivid visions that I've had, looking at my 21-year-old self and giving him the nod that it's okay. Look, I'm 40. I'm here. Look, we're okay. You're gonna get through this.
So you're basically able to forgive that version of yourself.
Yes, like, it's okay. It's gonna be okay. Look at me. 20 years later, we're still here. We're still healthy. You know, still a little handsome. You know. Um, so that was my last ayahuasca ceremony, and then was the Bufo experience. My God. So you actually recorded me.
Yeah. Well,
And
I recorded most of it.
yeah, the other parts, I don't even want to know what I did. I could only imagine. But watching that video is so, one, it's funny. Two, it's so many up and downs. It's laughing, it's crying, it's rolling over, it's tension, it's chaos. But the one thing I do remember from the Bufo experience, which was unreal. I remember specifically remember being in a temple and where it's daylight, right? And we're all sitting in a circle, and you guys put like the two beds in the middle. And I remember the one girl, she was getting up and going, hello, 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 running out the place. We had another retreat member who was in the army, and he really, he let it all out, and it was not a great scene to watch. He was going through a lot, and you felt bad for him, and you want him to get this, and we're all rooting for him, and he let it out in just a violent, angry way, and it was just like so intense. And I was like, wow. And then you have the guy, the one guy, I forgot his name. He's laying down and he's like, he laughing, playing with like butterflies and stuff. He's all calm and nice. And then another intense one, another intense Bufo experience. And you're watching this, you're like, I'm thinking to myself, you know what? I might have to skip out on this. This is like really intense. And there's this girl next to me. She's 110 pounds, little blonde, skinny girl from the UK. And everyone's asking, who's next? Nobody's saying anything. I'm not saying anything. She goes, I'll go. I look at her. I said, damn, man, now I have to go. I can't have her go and me not, right? But I didn't want to do it inside of the temple. I wanted to be in my own space, which you
Hmm.
guys allowed, and which I thank you guys for being so. I went to another retreat a year after that, and there was so many rules and restrictions, and you couldn't do this. You had to do it this way, and it's this way or no way. And with you understand that it's our retreat. This is for us. This isn't for this isn't rules in school or a job. Like, be you. What you feel comfortable with, do it. You want to go back to your room, go back to your room. You want to do this, do this. You're like, someone's gonna walk you, someone's gonna watch you. You guys were so nurturing and so caring and so and I always bring that up about Mexico. And they always ask me, what's the difference? What's the difference? And I always say, the staff. The staff was so amazing, so nurturing, so caring. And I wanted to be alone in my own space. I didn't want people, the eyes on me. I didn't want that. So you guys took me outside and we did the whole Bufo, the smoking and all that. And some people lasted 8 minutes, some people lasted 10 minutes, some people 20 minutes. My video, I remember, it's 38 minutes. So 38 minutes of what felt like forever. You know, and it was just, you're not in your physical state. Like you're there, your body's there, but you're inside. I remember falling through like this kaleidoscope and I'm laughing and joking, and then things got serious and I started laughing. But I vividly remember waking up out of the Bufo experience and coming to, and you are on the grass next to me, about 5 feet away, but you're not really looking at me. You're really just there, just to be there, just in case, I need some help, whatever. And you're kind of like looking off into the rest of the finca. And I'm coming out of it, you're just like, whoa, what the hell was that? And I remember looking over at you, and it wasn't you. It was you. But when I looked at the side profile, and as that person turned towards me, it was me,
Hmm.
15 years older now. So the ayahuasca experience a couple nights ago, I was looking at a 15-year younger me,
Hmm.
and now I'm looking and it's me 15 years older. I have, mostly gray hair. I'm still in shape. I look good. My skin is good. I'm in shape. And you had this calm about you. The way you were sitting, the way you were just so peaceful looking out into the rest of the finca. And I remember as you turned and looked, and I'm just staring at you and it's me. And I'm just like, and the same thing happened. That person looked at me and gave me the smirk and the
Hmm.
smile and said, it's going to be okay. Without saying those words, he didn't have to say those words. By me looking at him, he gave me this sense of calm, the sense of peace, the sense of maturity, the sense of a man. And he looked at me, and here I am, I'm teary-eyed, the complete opposite of the other night. And he gave me that nod, that smirk, like, it's going to be okay. Look, we're still here.
Yeah.
You're in shape. we're healthy. And it was just like such a relief to me to know that, it gave me a sense of like looking forward to getting to that age in a sense, because that guy, what I looked at was so peaceful, so calm, so mature. He was just like a grown man. And that did it for me right there. That I was done. I was ready to go home and start my journey.
Hmm.
And it was just a beautiful, beautiful experience, man. Beautiful.
Hmm.
Absolutely beautiful.
Well, I'll take that as a compliment, even though you're calling me old. I feel too that one of the reasons or one of our purposes in life is to just to bring together all the parts of ourselves and to unify and to accept and to love all the parts of ourselves. The part that's been in
Right.
prison, the part that you are now, the part when you're a kid, and then
Yeah.
sometimes the part that you're going to be. And then just to
Yeah.
kind of, I mean, I guess that's what the word integrate means, into one.
Right. It's a great way of putting it. Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing that experience. So you're coming home, and then let's talk about some of the things that just kind of shifted or changed. I mean, we already kind of got into that a bit, but why don't we
Right.
elaborate?
Okay. Yeah. So I came home and I was seeing this girl right before I went, and I saw a lot of it during my Bufo experience. I actually saw her, and I remember that as well. I remember she was there, and it kept zooming in into her pupil. So I kind of zoomed in, and I kind of like went in through her eye, and as I came out through her eye, I was flying with some type of eagles, hawks, literally like over. If you picture like Jurassic Park, the greenery the greenery rock and the water, the ocean, the sun, and I went through her eye, and then all of a sudden I'm this eagle flying with them up as a bird's eye view, looking down at this beautiful landscape, and then it kind of went away. So she was on my mind a lot. I remember calling her as soon as I got back to the room, and uh, and I just told her how much I liked her, and I never did this in my life. Roger, you have no idea. I mean, I've never told a girl I liked her or loved her, anything in my entire life, and I did, and I just couldn't wait to get home to her, and when I did, we met up, and it was a beautiful night, and I just fell in love, man, and my emotions, my feelings, and I was so open, and I was trying. And her biggest complaint about me is lack of communication and lack of emotional availability and maturity, and I never understood what she was talking about. Like, what are you talking about? Like, I take you out, I treat you right, I respect you. Like, what else do you want?
Hmm.
And she taught me these things. Like, you're not doing this. This is, and and I was open to that. Before, back then, I would have been like, yeah, 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 whatever. But I listened and I started communicating, and throughout that year, till this day, she still to this day tells me, you are a completely different person. So not only her, people I haven't talked to in 10 years, people that I haven't seen in 10 years, and I talk to them on the phone or I see them in person or I've run into them. Every single person has the same thing to tell me. You are a completely different person. So when I came home, that was June. So by the time, January hit, um, I as a teenager, so to bring it back a little bit,
Hmm.
when I was 9 years old, living in Jersey, my mother had to work day and night, to provide rent, car, me, food, school, all that stuff. I would wake up at 9 years old. Back in the '90s, it was a not too big of a deal. I would wake up and I would be alone. And there's no one there. So I'm 9 years old. I'm waiting third grade. I fed myself. I dressed myself. I did my hair. Um, Watched Sports Center. I remember watching Sports Center every morning. Like, walk myself to school. Nobody picked me up. The bus didn't pick me up. I walked to school. Um, but as I got older, 10 years old, 11 years old, I started going in the liquor cabinet. Started I remember making screwdrivers because you see the adults put
Yeah.
the orange juice in this clear liquid and they drink it. And I started drinking at 10, 11 years old. My friend
Wow.
would come home to my house and smoke, bring Marlboro Reds. His parents smoked, my mom didn't. We would smoke. I wasn't even inhaling, I was just blowing. Like I had no clue what I was doing. But here I am, 10 years old, 11 years old. I'm smoking cigarettes and I'm drinking alcohol. I'm going to school buzzed. This is before school. This is 8 o'clock in the morning,
Yeah.
you know? So alcohol played a big factor in my life. I mean, from 10 years old until last New Year. So this New Year's in about 3 weeks, I'm coming up on 1 year sober of not drinking alcohol. And I've
Good for
never
you.
done that unless I was in jail or in prison.
Yeah.
And so again, it showed me who I wanted to be. I wanted to be a non-drinker because not drinking makes a lot of bad decisions. I mean, I got 2 DUIs. I should have had five. I got out of three of them. Either running away or the cop. I passed the test, or the cop was cool that night. It was right down the street from my house. He's like, just go home. I mean, the money I've spent, the decisions I've made, every case I caught, juvenile or adult, alcohol was involved. Every bad decision in my life, alcohol was involved. So for me, that started the process of stopping to drink. And so, yeah, I'm coming up on a year sober of non-alcohol. My energy level, that's another thing by ayahuasca. I came home, my energy levels, I don't need any more caffeine. I didn't need any pre-workout. I felt alive. I felt so good. And then, so I stopped drinking. I finally fell in love for the first time in my life. Um, I just became an overall better person. And a lot of people told me that. So it's
Yeah.
not just me thinking this. I have people that know me for 10, 15 years, you know, 20 years. They're telling me, dude, I can't believe you don't drink. I can't believe you actually have feelings. I can't believe that you're communicative. Like, and just things like that. Things like that. And that was just one ceremony. That was,
Yeah.
and it's amazing what it did. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. And I just
Huh.
became an overall better person, I felt. And a lot of people back that up.
Good for you, man. And
Yeah,
thanks for
thank you.
sharing that.
Yeah, of
Um,
course.
well, I could see it too. I mean, because some of the stuff you had told me, I didn't really know your backstory. So
Right.
even by the time you'd gotten here, I would have guessed that some things had started to change already. But
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
now
Little by
too,
little.
even now
Yep.
too, from the retreat you're in, I mean, there's a
Yeah.
definitely a lighter side.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's you know, and so I did go on another retreat last February, and I brought my mom because I have this guilt inside of me that I ruined this woman's life. I
Hmm.
mean, again, you know, just picture your 11-year-old kids on probation. I mean, 14, 15, this kid's in jail for 10 months. 16, back to jail again for 3 months. 20, back to jail for 6 months. 21, prisons, 5.5 years. And she's alone. She never remarried. She don't have no family. I'm all she has. And she didn't raise me this way. She don't drink. She don't smoke. She's an angel. I mean, credit score 830, never late to work. One time she had to lie to somebody because she like plans got switched. She was so nervous for like 4 days over the simplest lie. I mean, it was just the most dumbest lie in the world. It bothered her.
Yeah.
One time I was in prison, she came to visit me and she's like, Eric, oh my God, this and that. I said, what's the matter? Why are you so stressed? She goes, I went to ShopRite and I bought all my groceries. I came home and I looked at the receipt and I noticed they didn't charge me for a loaf of bread. She went back to ShopRite to pay the $1.99 for the damn loaf of bread. Like, that's what kind of person she is. And here I am, I mean, like a devil child. So the nights she couldn't sleep, the stress, the anxiety, the financial burden I put on this woman is outrageous. The lawyers, the bails, the you name it, the DUIs, the cars I totaled. I mean, I have this guilt inside of me till this day. But I wanted to take her to a retreat, and I wanted her to, maybe grow a bond with her and things like that. But she was so blocked. She's still stressful. I think she just wasn't ready.
Well, I definitely think that I mean, people will release the things they're holding on to when they're ready to.
Yes.
Well, why don't we? We've talked about kind of this whole process from where you were at before, and then the ceremonies themselves, and then what's shifted and changed. But I know you're going to be coming back soon, and you got a project that you're trying to work on. So why don't you share that with us a bit?
Right. Okay. So as I mentioned, I grew up alone. My mom, hardworking woman, had to leave me home, and basically I had to take care of myself. And I had no male figure. She never remarried. So um, I have this, I don't know, resentment, this abandonment issue. I feel like my father left. I knew him growing up. I'd see him once a year, once every other year, a couple times a year. But I feel when I was 18, I just got this charge that I was going to go to prison for 5 years. And I was still fighting the charge. So I haven't been sentenced yet. I still haven't gone to court yet. And him knowing this, um, he still packed up, met a young girl, and moved back to Argentina, knowing that when he goes back to Argentina, he cannot come back to the United States. He doesn't have the proper paperwork, whatever the case may be. And he still left to start a whole new life in another country when your struggling teenage kid is going through this. He needed you his entire life. And now he needs you more than ever. And you still packed up and went to go, and knowing you most likely will never see this kid again. He still left. And that always stuck in me. That always stayed inside of me. Like, and I have this resentment, this anger. Um, so when I was in Peru during my retreat, I was speaking to a shaman, and he's telling me, what's your intention? What's missing? I said, my father's missing. He wouldn't come to me. When I was there, I tried to intention him to come to me, and he wouldn't come. And that's typical of him. He would run away. He doesn't want to face me. He doesn't want to face his actions. He doesn't want to face his, what he's done, how he knows how I feel about him. He knows. It's very well known how I feel about him. And he doesn't want to face it, as a man. He doesn't want to face it. He just doesn't want to. And and I know after my experience in Mexico, what it did for me on the inside. Um, and again, I grew up with nothing but bunch of me's. I never grew up with normal people, as I call them here in Florida, in my salsa community. I never grew up with these people. Every person I know is in jail, dead, overdose, drug dealers, robbers, thieves. I mean, you know, the lowest of the low. That's all I know. I don't know normal people that went to college and have a career and have families and everything. I don't know these people until I moved to Florida. And I know what that feeling, when I came back from Mexico, I know what it did for me. And if I could stop drinking, if I could start showing emotions, if I could love, anybody can. And I always was a person that want to help people. I've had 5 people live with me so far, rent free, stay here, get yourself together. When you're ready, you move out, and that's just who I am. And I realize I am a good person. I always thought of myself as a bad person, as this like scum almost. But a lot of people tell me you're not. You're such a good person. You're good-hearted, and that's the new me, you know? And I want to pass that on to others. I want to help people. I want people to, not everybody knows about ayahuasca, you know? It's not the most popular thing. I mean, it's coming on since social media and YouTube. Just today, somebody texted me. It's like, hey, can I call you at 6 o'clock? I'm like, no, I'm doing a podcast with ayahuasca. And they're like, what is that? And I know this person needs some type of help in whatever way, ayahuasca or not. But I said, go on YouTube, look it up. I'll call you when I get done. So I know a bunch of these people that are watching me progress in life and are saying, how the hell did you do it? Like, what are you doing? How'd you stop drinking? How do you not doing this? Well, and my answer always is, I went to Mexico and
Yeah.
I want to share that with a lot of people. I want to share that with the struggling 20-year-olds, 25-year-olds, or you know. So I've decided to start an Instagram page, start a YouTube channel, start a documentary. So I'm gonna be filming my trip when I go in 3 days. Oh my God, I can't wait. I'll be there in 3 days. I'm gonna basically vlog my trip at Mexico, Mexisoul, and from day one, from the airport all the way, starting tomorrow, I'm gonna, start the progress of telling them how I'm supposed to get ready, no red meat, no processed sugars, positive yoga, meditation, calmness, you know. So I'm gonna start that part, and then I'm gonna vlog my Mexi Soul experience as far as the night before. Hopefully some people might be willing to allow me to interview them, some retreat members, if they don't mind sharing, because my problems might not be someone else's problems, right? Um, there's going to be women that have been abused in certain ways that another woman can't relate to me, but she could relate to her. And, or sudden death in the family, the mother and father passed away, or the child, somebody's child passed away. And so I want to interview other people to reach out to a broader audience. And I really want to pass the word on, and so that's my goal. My goal is to help others, and if I could be helped, I feel like it wouldn't take much for others to get helped. And so I want to vlog, my whole ayahuasca retreat process every night, and before ceremony, after ceremony, really show the experience of being on the site, on the finca, with the food and the temple and the wolves and the horseback and the whole experience. And then I also want to, from that point on, I'm planning a trip to Argentina in February, March area, because it's their summer. Our winter is their summer. It's reversed. So I want to catch the good weather there, you know. And I'm going to go find my father, and I'm going to vlog this whole trip of going to Argentina by myself. I'm going to go find him. I have connections, ways of finding him. Um, and I'm gonna have a sit down with him, and I'm gonna have a talk with him. And I'm gonna let him know exactly what he's done, how I feel. I want to get my closure. I want to get my closure, and I'm gonna vlog that whole experience. And hopefully, it turns into a feel good story. Hopefully, I forgive and forget, and hopefully, he's in his 60s, and who knows how much longer people got to live, I had a friend this morning tell me that her mom passed away. She was 64, such a sweet lady, and you just never know when your time is. And for 43 years, I missed out on having a father, a dad. I have a father, but it's different being a dad, A father, anybody could be a father, but to be a dad takes a special, special man. And he was never a dad. And you never know. I have this still, in the weirdest way possible. I still have this love for him. I have this yearn to have a relationship with him, even though he's left me. He's left me so many times on Christmases, birthdays, no phone calls, no nothing. Just I still have this yearn to have a relationship with him. I don't know why. I can't explain it. I know we get along so well, and I want him to see me as the man that he missed out on. You know, I want him to see what he missed out on. And I want him to feel that. I want him to really feel that. And my goal is to go there and obviously vlog the whole meetup, the whole talk, whatever. And then from that point on, hopefully, we could, hopefully he shows up, number one. But if he does, which I believe he will, um, hopefully we could go to a soccer game. Hopefully he could show me around where he grew up. Hopefully he could show me where he lived. Hopefully he could be my tour guide. Hopefully we could build a bond, like a father and son type of deal. And I don't need a dad right now. I don't need a father right now. I would just ask him to be my friend, and that's all I need. And that's what I'm hoping for, man. And from that point on, my goal is to bring him to Mexico. And I want to bring him to Mexico, and I want him to go through the retreat with you guys. And I want him to work on himself, on his self, how he grew up. And I don't know how he grew up. I know nothing about this man. From what I hear, his parents weren't the most loving, and it was very cold back in the day. In the 50s, 60s, life was different, And so do I blame him for being that way? Or do I show sympathy because he was raised this way? So that's all he knows is how to be that way, you know? But I really would love for him to go to Mexico and go through ceremonies and really see, you know, his life and maybe what can change. Maybe he'll change. Maybe he'll grow some emotions. Maybe he'll have a heart the way I did, you know? So that's my, and then with all that, I'll have a YouTube channel showing my progress, doing all that. Um, and also, when I come back from Mexico, I'm going to start a podcast, and that's going to be about men's mental health and how you're not alone, how there's always someone to talk to. There's always someone that's been through way worse than you. I've learned that by going to Mexico and Peru, that my story ain't shit compared to what I've heard next to me, you know? And it's eye-opening, it's humbling to be in a room with somebody, and while they're telling their story, you're saying to yourself, and I'm here, uh, my life is perfect compared to that person, you know? But everybody has their own. You don't know how people deal with certain things on the inside. So maybe, so I want him to experience that. And when I come back here, I want to start the podcast, and I want men to understand that it's okay to speak out. It's okay to communicate. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay. You don't have to put on this tough guy persona that you're the man. You can't show tears. You can't show emotions. You have to hide it all in, because I did that my whole life. I held everything inside of me. And when I got mad, it blew up. And it doesn't have to be that way. Therapy is okay. Therapy is not for the weak. I used to make, oh, you need therapy, man. Get out of here, therapy. What I look like, some geek? No, therapy is awesome. Therapy is great. Therapy is. I felt so alive talking to somebody about my feelings and emotions, and like to really let it all out, because you're not holding back because it's your friend. You don't want them thinking of you a certain way. You're in a closed room. You let it out. And I want men to look at my podcast, come on my podcast, share their story of what they're going through mentally and how they feel. And I want it to be I want to show men that it's okay to speak up. It's okay to ask for help, because I wish I did at a much younger age than at 43. I wish. But hey, you live your life for one way, and it's for a reason, and maybe now it's my time to look at the 21-year-old kids that are troublemakers and about to go to jail, and maybe I could change somebody's life, man. And if I could change just one person, my job's done, so that's my goals. That's what I'm getting into. And it all starts with this Thursday, the 11th. I will be there, 3 p.m. and my journey starts from there.
Awesome. Well, I definitely salute you for using your story to try to inspire others.
Yeah,
And we will put any of that information in the description of the podcast.
awesome.
And then something that I just think that we can all learn from too is to look at the people in our lives, um, including your father, in the same lens as what you saw yourself when you were 21.
Right, right. Exactly, exactly.
All right, appreciate it, Eric. The last thing that I just ask everybody is that if there was anyone that's considering plant medicine, what would you suggest, or what would you tell them?
Great question. Obviously, I would tell them go for it. Um, you have nothing to lose. Um, I would use myself as an example. Again, I know I repeated this 10 times, but if I could change, if I could have feelings, if I could show love, if I could accept love, then you can as well. And I would highly suggest going with plant medicine. Um, it's it, it's 5, 10 years of therapy in a week. That's the way I like to describe it. I mean, in 1 week, I got 5, 10 years worth of therapy in just 1 week. And in a way that you can't describe. I can't even begin to I tried my best today to describe my visions and how I felt and everything. Um, but you have to see it for yourself and you have to go through it yourself. And I highly, highly recommend going to Mexisoul. Um, and hearing that music and being around the staff that's so nurturing, so caring, I would I, I just have no words how to describe how when I flew back into that airport home, how I felt just alive and I
Hmm.
felt new. I felt new. And I couldn't recommend it any more than to try plant medicine. You know, if you're really struggling, and you're looking for a sense of direction, you want to become somebody different, you want to change, you want to see what you could be, I highly, highly, highly recommend going to MexiSoul and and give it a shot. Give it a shot. It's 1 week, um, and I could almost promise you it will change your view of everything. And in due time you will become a better person and you will change your ways and I know I did. I know I've sent a couple people to MexiSoul last year and they told me the same thing. It's just a beautiful, beautiful experience and you see life in a different light and don't miss out on that. Don't miss out on that. Trust me when I tell you, don't miss out.
Wonderful. Well, thank you. With that said, if anyone is interested, there'll be a link below. And thank you so much.
You got it, brother.